What's up, everyone? So today has been particularly difficult. First of all, I'm kind of losing my voice, and second of all, tomorrow I restart chemo. So technically, it's the last round. So 4 more sessions of chemo after the surgery. So surgery was a great success. We were able to save 20% of the stomach, which is great news. I was already under the impression that I was going to get a total gastrectomy, so I was going to lose all of my stomach. But, thankfully I didn't. I was, surgery was January 3rd, but I stayed a little bit longer in the hospital recovering than, initially expected. It was expected to be between 5 to 7 days, but I stayed 11 days. The recovery was a little hard. I think the hardest thing was, first of all, two things. Wrapping my head around the fact that, I had significantly much smaller stomach, and that, my insides were pretty much like rearranged, but also the difficult thing was trying to cope with the idea of everything's going to be completely different from now. So lifestyle changes for sure, eating habits for sure, and a lot of that has been pretty difficult. Starting the liquid diet, clear liquid diet was really hard, and then progressing into full liquid diet was slightly more complicated. I had some setbacks that I had to reset back into, the clear liquid diets, and it was really hard to, keep anything thicker than the consistency of a shakedown. I was, for the first couple of days, I remember that I couldn't drink water, so it was just ice chips, and that was harsh. That was really harsh. So trauma. But aside from that, I think one of the other hardest things was, when I was able to drink water, it was just sips, and learning that as I'm adapting to this new body, pretty much, I can't gulp down cold water, or gulp down anything for that matter. So it is quite, a thing to wrap my head around it. But with that, I'm counting my blessings. A lot of people don't get to have this opportunity. Nonetheless, do they have a chance to, go into chemo with no residual cancer found in their stomach? So according to the doctor, the margins were pretty clear on my stomach, which allowed him to save 20% of it, about 20% of it. The cancer was, there was no visible cancer. It didn't affect the nearby lymph nodes or anything. So, overall, great news. Silver lining, I guess, aside from the fact that there's no cancer. I'm much slimmer. I went into surgery at weighing 218, and by the time I came out, about 2 weeks later, for my post-op follow-up, I was 185. So it was a significant drop within, 3.5 weeks. And so the doctors were concerned that I wasn't getting enough protein and that I needed to try to eat slightly more protein. But that's the problem. You couldn't eat. So, these shakes, these Ensure shakes were just, I guess my lifeline. But I was traumatized with these shakes. The taste of them, the texture, it just kind of almost produced like a gag reflex, and it was just, not pleasant. But overall, I guess I'm learning to adjust. I am, what today is, February 10th, so technically I am 5 weeks in from surgery, and I'm introducing uh, a little bit of solid foods, but that's been hectic. I started introducing some of the solid foods last week, which in retrospect was not a good idea. Um, I've been feeling pretty bloated. It's been difficult to gauge at what point, I start to get full so that I don't overdo it and don't get too full. Um, the new standard, the new way of doing things, it's pretty much I have to have between 5 to 6 meals a day. They're small meals. And I can't have anything to drink while I'm consuming my meal. And that was something I used to do a lot. So um, now I'm supposed to have my meal, nothing to drink, wait for about 30, 45 minutes, get something to drink. And then if I'm going to have another meal, I have to drink something at least 30 minutes before. So that's been a little hard to get used to. Also kind of gauging which foods I can tolerate, that I don't get nauseous, but that I also don't overdo them. It's been quite hectic. Also the fact that I don't know whether I'm fully lactose intolerant or that was part of the situation with cancer, that I wasn't processing milk correctly. I've been trying to figure that out, but it's a hit miss. It's like I can't really fully tell whether it's one or the other. So I decided to be off lactose in general. So no milk product, no dairy products for now. And it doesn't make much of a difference. I used to tolerate cream of broccoli relatively well, and mind you, the cream of broccoli didn't have a ton of broccoli. It had more carrots than broccoli, but yeah. Chicken noodle, I couldn't eat the noodle. It was just a chicken, ideally pureed, but I started to introduce little strips of chicken, and that sat pretty well. But that was my diet for about my meal for like 2 weeks, and I developed a certain taste for it that just got kind of hard for a few days for me to be able to process that without getting nauseous. So it was kind of like back to square one on what are we gonna consume, and I just couldn't fathom the idea of having these protein shakes either. So it's been a little bit difficult to kind of just curb the anxiety and the nausea, but also nausea, my nauseousness. But it's also been kind of enlightening to see how everything's working. It's hard, it really is. Navigating the emotional and psychological effects of things. Luckily I am able to go out. Oh yeah, and the surgery wasn't laparoscopic, it was an open surgery. So I have what is it, like maybe a 6-inch incision, well, not incision, but 6-inch scar, and it's healing pretty nicely, I guess. I'm about to start applying the silicone gel on it for scarring, so that it can scar better. So I'm excited on that because there's a lot going on around there. Particularly, I feel like my skin elasticity has been, it's more evident now that, I've lost more than like 20-ish pounds since that surgery, 30 pounds. I'm at 175 as of today. So yeah, it's been 25, like almost, and my math teacher would be mad at me, but anyways, it's like a little bit more than 30 pounds. So yeah. But the issue is And I completely forgot um, what my oncologist said. But my concern was that once I had the surgery, um, the surgeon was sending to pathology samples of my stomach to determine whether or not there was cancer present in any of the surrounding tissue. So um, the surgical oncologist mentioned that, which was rather interesting, that when he removed the stomach, he noticed some bruising in the area where the neoplasm was. So probably that could have been the chemo taking effect and doing its thing. So knowing that this chemo, the flat regimen that I'm having, targets both uh, good cells and bad cells, any cells that reproduce pretty much at a particular rate, I'm slightly concerned that I will be feeling this chemo a little bit harder. Maybe not, I don't really know. But if I've been feeling slightly off the last few days with my stomach and digestion and stuff like that, I'm a little bit concerned, particularly with feeling pretty nauseous. Chemo gets me very nauseous, so it's a little bit nerve-wracking. So I'm trying to get that out of my head, but at the same time, being mindful of the fact that I probably get very, very nauseous. It's a little alarming. Also, with the same as with eating in general, I also have to measure my fluid intake so that I don't overdo it as well, which is what I noticed like maybe yesterday and today has been some of the issues. One of the issues. I also took dexamethasone today for prep to prepare for tomorrow's chemo, and I took it and I made the mistake of not reading the label saying take with food or milk, and I took it. It wasn't necessarily an empty stomach. I had probably some Jello and juice, but in retrospect, that wasn't such a great idea. So I felt like I had reflux afterwards, and my stomach was a little bit sensitive to that. So I had to take yogurt. It calmed it a little bit down, but the discomfort is still there. Like, I feel pretty bloated. I feel pretty nauseous, and there were moments where I felt like my mouth was like salivating, and I thought I was gonna, throw up and stuff, but luckily not yet. Hopefully not, but I'm hoping that all of this kind of passes and calms down. But yeah, going into chemo with nausea already, so that should be interesting. I'm excited nonetheless, just because this is literally like the last leg of the race. It's like 4 sessions away from ending this nightmare, and hopefully, with great results. The doctors, my oncologists, they're all very positive, and they're very excited and very hopeful because, technically to them, I'm at officially stage 0. There's no cancer, visible cancer in the body. So to them, the perioperative chemo is, the standard procedure in my case, and they decided that I should take this, last round of 4 sessions as a measure to control the outcomes of cancer not, coming back. So on that end, I'm very excited, because it's like making sure that any potential little cancer cell that's been, running around in there, it's gone, ideally. So yeah, it's been exciting to kind of think about that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very nervous about the reality of things pretty much settling in, the social and political climate. my living arrangements and the fact that, I'm with my family and they've been a great support system, but, there's a certain feeling that I feel, that I'm a little bit impatient at not being able to live more independently. And so that's been an issue because, I don't have a job. And the last place I was refused to accommodate for any of this. And so if this was one of the largest companies in the world, with a huge reputation for helping their employees, and they refuse to give you an accommodation with enough valid, solid reasons. I'm like, well, what's going to happen with any other company? So, I got to push that thought process out of my head and kind of just start preparing into, getting into the workforce and, trying for anything. My background is mostly creative, like marketing, branding, particularly, more specifically branding. My educational background is interior architecture and design, and not so long ago I, transferred into DePaul for business administration. So it's been interesting to, kind of see the dynamic of both things. And during my time at DePaul, I've been very obsessed with intercultural communication. So it's something that I'm growing to appreciate. But as with a lot of, candidates in the job market, if you don't have your degree, you're a little bit at a disadvantage, and you're gonna have enough experience, relevant experience into the very particular industries, and also you're at a disadvantage. So my last job hunt took me about maybe 16 months to secure this job at this last big company, but and it was more of a retail position than anything. So it's been a little bit of a, mind game to kind of just not fully think about going back into the workforce, and, still not having my hair, and, still dealing with chemo nails and stuff like that. And what's going to happen if I do have an interview? I got to renew my license pretty soon. So it's like, how am I going to go? I did read that, I think, for religious and medical reasons, you can, wear a head covering, but that doesn't cast a shadow or something like that. But, it's like a lot of these little things are kind of like settling into like my head, and, the reality of things and the real world, and getting back into it. So let's not even talk about, the financial aspect of things. It's a little draining. So yeah, well, I should get ready to go to bed. It's pretty late. If you can see, I don't have my black pearl necklace because unfortunately it broke. So my friend's gonna fix it, and I'm very excited, but I gotta see him first and kind of give him the bracelet. But anyways, not the bracelet, the necklace. Yeah, my black pearl necklace. But yeah, no, it is what it is. I've been rambling for 18 minutes. Sorry about that. But to whomever's watching this, thank you for following this journey. I'm still working on the podcast videos of, podcast videos. I'm still working on them. But I also have a few other projects going on simultaneously that I'm excited about. And hopefully, I'll be able to kind of launch those too in the next coming weeks. But yeah, it's been real. So thank you again for, kind of coming with me in this journey. I know it hasn't been easy to kind of, for those of you that know me, I've been a little bit distant and MIA from a lot of things, particularly family, friends. And so thank you for your patience and bearing with me in terms of like, respecting my privacy, my my privacy. But yeah, it's it's been real. So yeah, and again, pardon for my voice. I don't know what's wrong with it. This morning was great, but it's gotten progressively weirder. But anyways, yeah, thank you so much again, and I guess this is good night. I guess, well, technically good morning because it's past 2 a.m. But yeah, I will most likely make another video in about 4 hours when I wake up for chemo. All right, thank you so much again.